All right, what's good, everybody? We here with Ms. GB, Ms. Great Britain, Tasha Jonas. What's good with you? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm okay. I'm just chilling in my nan's house.
So the first thing I wanted to ask is, news broke early a couple of hours ago that the WBC ordered Terry Harper to fight her mandatory challenger Katarina Fenders of Norway. So that basically means that the immediate rematch is not a possibility right now. So the first thing I want to ask is, okay, well, what other options are on the table, or what are you receptive to if Terry is not in the immediate future?
Um, it was always a possibility that a strong possibility that she was going to have to do that anyway. It was something off air that Eddie had mentioned, um, but I was hoping, after speaking with Sullivan, that they may have changed that. But you know, I'm one of them people that there's no point in stressing and about things that you can't change or that is out of your control. So, it is what it is. Me and Joe will go back and I'll speak with MTK, and we'll sort a different route and a different path. I mean, it's not there right now, but it'll never go away. And I think it's be something that the British fans will keep on pushing and pushing for, like they did with the Pursoon and Taylor.
Yeah, it was a great fight. Like I told everybody, it was going to be a great fight. I personally, and I hope that the people at MTK think about this, but I would like to see you fight Hyun Mi Choi because, well, I think you could beat the hell out of her and take her belt. And I would like to see you get a belt. You know, I mean, I would like to see you get a belt before there's a rematch. I think you can get
Yeah.
Hyun Mi Choi's belt because she's solid. She's pretty good. She don't punch like you do. She doesn't have the pedigree that you have. So I'm like, yo, yeah, she can beat her ass. Get that belt, then bring it to the rematch. That's I'm just putting that out there. Now I want to field some
Yeah,
of the. Go ahead, go ahead.
sorry, she has obviously anyone who's got a belt we've looked at before, and like she doesn't very often come outside of Korea, so it's that's a bit of an issue in itself. But anyone who's got a belt, that's my target. You know what I mean? So whether I have to wait for the winner of Maya, and Rodvika, um, wherever that is, whether I have to go up a weight and fight somebody else, or I'm definitely not going down a weight. You can put your money on that. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of options. To be fair, there's a lot of options. So yeah, I'm not too downhearted, and as I say, I can't change it, so there's no point in stressing about it anyway.
Well, I personally think that the incentive is most of the noise coming out of the division is coming out of the United Kingdom. You're making a lot of noise. Terry's making a lot of noise, and that's where the focus and attention is coming from. So I'm thinking if Hyun Mi Choi wants to be a part of a meaningful fight with a meaningful fighter, she needs to look you guys up because the news coming out of super featherweight is Tasha Jonas and Terry Harper. Michaela's in there, Alicia's in there, but right now, yeah, it's about y'all. So she need to get with it because she's been a champion. She's been a champion for a while, but most people don't know that. Like, so yo, get on the ball.
It's okay being a champion, but it's whether you want to hold on to your belt, because that's always a big risk. You've got a bit of status by being the champion. Do you really want to put that at stake by fighting someone who could potentially and more than likely will beat you? Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
that's that's what she'll be thinking as the champion. That's what her team will be thinking. Like, yeah, I can go and make a big name and make some money, but I'm potentially might lose the belts, which in the long term is not what I want. And that's the problem sometimes we have. Getting fights, and it was only because of the lockdown and because of the restrictions that the British Boxing Board of Control had put on other fighters coming to the country that me and Terry was able to fight anyway, because there was no one for it to fight. So I was the only person. That's the only reason I got a shot. Otherwise, I'd still be waiting in line somewhere now.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was like kismet. Like everything fell into place because there's so many travel restrictions. You got the powers that be have to allow some leniency for fights. That if we're gonna have fights, we got to get who's available. I think that was more or less the situation with Sinicia Estrada and Miranda Atkins. She got a lot of criticism for that fight, but it was a lot of short-sighted criticism because it's like, well, who else did they want her to fight? There's only so many girls available. All the other girls can't travel, so you work with what you got. You know what I mean? So now I wanted to ask you some of these Twitter questions because as soon as I posted it, they're like, "Yo, Tasha about to be on the joint." Mad people started asking questions, so let's get to some questions, and I'll try to filter out the crappy ones. All right. The first question, Woolly Boy Slip and Move asked, "Hey, can you ask her what she would prefer, getting a rematch next, or if she would prefer to challenge Choi for her belt and take her belt back? What would you prefer, rematch with Terry or title fight with Yumi Choi?"
Oh yeah, a rematch with Terry because one, it's already a talked about thing, and two, because for me personally, the WBC is the most prestigious belt in boxing, and like to be able to fight for that and win that, that's the one I want. So, I don't get me wrong, I would never turn down any world title. A world title is a world title, but when you think about it, like which one would you want? It'd be the WBC over most.
Okay. Next question. JD Boxing asked, "What do you plan to add to your skill set in a potential rematch with Harper? And if you were to get a rematch against Obanov, what would you do differently?"
The Obanov one was simple. Like I got caught with a shot, and I was so angry that I got caught. It was the only shot she had, and it was the one thing we'd worked on in camp about. I was so annoyed that it landed that I reacted emotionally, and we all know in boxing you can't do that. The more emotional I was, the more I was getting caught. So it was just a vicious circle of me reacting emotionally instead of like keeping me cool and like just doing what I do. So yeah, it was it, and that's something I worked on for Harper actually. To be fair, just not reacting, or reacting more smarter. With Terry, I think I personally give myself, when I watched it back, rounds 1 and round 2, and I remember because I had the cut, and the referee had deemed it was done by a fist. Before, in the change rooms, before we'd even got to the ring, he'd said, if you get a cut and it gets worse after the 4th round, if it's by a punch, they'll win on a technical knockout. If it's with a butt, we'll go to the scorecards. So when he deemed it was a fist, I just went into panic, and I kind of went into a shell a little bit, just thinking I don't want it to get worse. I don't want it to get worse. And because I was looking down at me shorts, and I could see there was blood everywhere. So I was thinking, and Joe was saying, it's not bad, but it must have been for that amount of blood to be there. So I panicked a little bit. So yeah, I think you can't do anything about a butt, whatever, a glove, or whether it was a butt or whatever. But I'd probably be a bit more aggressive next time.
Yeah, because that combination, it was 8th round. I think it was either a jab and a straight or a straight and a jab. But I really thought you was about to knock her out, yo. 8th round, you remember you hit her with a straight and a jab, or it was either a jab and a straight. I can't remember the combination.
1-2 cross it was, or 1-2 hook, we call it.
And like, yo, dog, when I seen her legs, I was like, oh shit. Look like she about to go out. Like, yo, it's a good ass fight, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, let me get to the next question. I gotta stop fanboying.
I was so annoyed with myself that you had heard Steffi saying, just hold it, and I let her do that. And I'm cleverer than that. I know I'm cleverer than that. So why I let her do that, I'll never know. So yeah, I'd be more aggressive. I'd be a lot. I'd box a lot smarter. But thing is, she went into that fight with a lot of confidence. I don't think she thought it'd be easy, but she definitely thought she would win by a margin. she, you know, and now if we rematched, if the rematch ever happens, she's going to be a lot less confident. She knows I can hurt her, and she didn't hurt me, so.
No, yeah, I mean, if we're gonna get into that, just before we get back to the questions, like I remember in the build-up of the fight, I remember hearing, "Oh, the bookies have Harper a favorite," and I'm a fan of Terry. I got nothing against Terry, so it's not like that. But it's like, yo, I felt like, yo, they kind of not looking at the situation for what it is. One, you're more maturated as a fighter. You got the amateur experience and the pro experience. Two, you're a southpaw. Three, I don't know if most people notice, but you got 7 knockouts. Like, it's very few girls out there that get knockouts. You have 7, all right? So it's like, yo, dog, she can punch. And it felt like, yo, they giving it to Terry because they have momentum, not realizing, like, yo, everything on the wall, all the writing on the wall says, yo, this is not going to be an easy fight. You know what I mean? And now she has that point of reference going into a rematch. Like, yo, you know what? I better not get into a tear up with Tasha because she damn near knocked my ass out in the 8th round.
I think I showed in round 1 and round 2 that she can't outbox me either. And like I've got the utmost respect for Terry. I respect everything that she's done and everything. Me and her have never had a problem. I do respect her as a champion, what she's done for boxing. But everything that I was saying on the lead up to that fight, I proved. I said that she wasn't better than me. She can't punch harder. I can do the 10 rounds, and I was fit. And she, you know, said that I was up past it. I couldn't do this. I couldn't do 10 rounds. I'd never done 10 rounds. I had a weak chin. And Joe actually said to her, I think it was at the weigh-in, "You're going to get chin checked." And she admitted in the post-fight press conference that she did. And so I wasn't trying to be smart, or, you know, I wasn't trying to like big myself up and say things that weren't true. Everything I said was truthful, and everything that I said happened. I said that, and that's not me trying to be, you know, it's like I just said what I honestly believed, and I proved myself that night. But I don't think that she did.
I would say the only drawback that I saw on your end leading up to the fight was I wondered, because Tasha knocked so many of these girls out, is she going to have the fitness to go into the deeper rounds? That was the only thing that I saw people saying that I was kind of like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. Like, she gets a lot of those girls out of there pretty early. If it goes into the later rounds, is she going to fade? I don't know. I just know she hit hard, and it's not going to be an easy fight. It was a great fight. I was like, yo, I ain't gonna, my scorecard, I had it a draw. To be honest. I thought the last half was you, the first half was her. I'd very much like to see the rematch, but I can't lie, as a fan, I really would like to see you get a title. Before anything, I would, and I think you can get it. Like, I firmly believe, yo, put Hugh Mi Choi in there. Hugh Mi Choi, not leaving with that belt, bro. Just do it. But, you know, back to the questions. Will Tasha fight this year, even if she doesn't get the rematch with Harper?
Yeah, I would like to think so. You know, there's talks of November, December already. Nothing set in stone, no opponent, no anything. But you know, as a boxer, we're also, you know, self-employed people. So I'm riding the crest of a wave at the minute. So I want to keep that going. And you know, I am confident. I am, you know, fit. I am. You know, I'm back in the gym. I'm back on it. I'm mentally in a good place and physically in a good place. So I want to keep that momentum going that I've just built up. So.
Okay. A friend of mine named Lennox keeps asking, "How are you doing?" You know, like, how you doing? You know what I mean? I had to ask. He's a friend, so I had to ask.
I'm good. As I say, I'm mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally in a very good place, and I've been for a while. So.
All right. Paul asked, once everything is back to normal with social distancing, will you be doing seminars, coaching, PT lessons, as I would love for my girls to be able to train with you?
To be honest, I don't. I just don't have the time. Obviously, I've trained full time myself, and I've got a little girl as well who keeps on running in and out of here. But yeah, so I just don't have the time. But what I will say is that, you know, for the local schools and stuff, that are the schools that are local to the Liverpool area, I'm always in there doing motivational talks. I go back to my own amateur gym, the Rotunda ABC, and talk to the kids, do a bit of coaching. But as for going beyond that, it's just tough with just tough finding time. There's literally not enough hours in the day.
Yeah, and you got to try to take over the super featherweight division. That takes time. It takes a lot of time. It's a lot of girls out there that you got to punch in the face. So I dig it. Gabriel Montero ask her how badly she is going. See, we was just talking about this. Ask her how badly she is going to whoop Harper in the rematch.
Yeah, there's nothing else more to add. I mean, I seen a comment saying that they don't think she'll learn from that and get better, and they don't think that I will. That was a career best performance. If you think that I can't get better than that, again, you are sadly mistaken. You are, riding the Harper, and I commend you for your loyalty to her, but you're mad. So.
Yeah, I mean, you were already underestimated, so they should have learned their lesson. Because I said it like, yo, if you look at the tweets of that week, I kept saying it like, yo, I don't know why y'all underestimating this girl. Like, wait, that's boxing fans, man. That's how they are. All right. Heaven Above asked, we've seen the likes of Shannon Courtenay heavily criticized of late for losing a very tight fight in Fight Camp 3. What advice would you give up-and-coming fighters so that they can prepare for the highs and lows? And is signing for the likes of Matchroom Boxing a double-edged sword?
I wouldn't say it's a double-edged sword. It's massive a stable for women's boxing at the minute, and Eddie has been very supportive and got all his fighters the fights that they want, and the female fights on the whole of that fight camp was the ones that stood out. Not for just me, or I'm not just saying that because I'm a woman. That's the general feedback from the public. With the highs and the lows, for me, coming from the amateur career, you're in a tournament every other month. So, you lose that tournament, it's like dust yourself off because you've got to get back into the next one. So it's easy to like dust it off because you can get back to it next month. But with the professional, obviously there's bigger gaps in between. But what I will say is that when you're winning, it's hard to look back and think, oh, I wasn't doing that right, because you were winning. So it doesn't not that it doesn't matter, but it seems that way. Nobody picks up on the stuff that you're doing wrong when you're winning. But then when you lose, you realise, and when you look back, you were doing that same thing from the start. But no one ever said anything because you were winning. So I learned more from my loss to Obanov, more about myself than all the other fights before that, because you go back to the very start and you start correcting them mistakes and making them better. And mentally, it's just through this lockdown has been so positive for me, because I got to spend time with my little girl, and I was totally locked off from boxing. And sometimes you just need that. Boxing, everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's physical, it is all that, but mentally it's very, very tough. So just give yourself a break away from it, and then come back and learn about yourself when you do that. I was able to do that, and I think it's helped me, and I think it showed in the Harper fight.
Yeah, I think that what fans lose sight of, or maybe they just don't process it, is how much of the fighter's life was spent fighting. You went all through the amateurs, now into the professionals. A good chunk of your life was and is the sport of boxing. So everybody need a break. It's just like when you at work and you I gotta step out and smoke a cigarette real quick. I need 15-minute break or something because I'm fucking stressed, yo. You know what I mean? So I dig it. I dig it. Let me see. Ardor asked, how active would you like to be over the next year if the pandemic cooperates?
I would love to fight, every 3 or 4 months. I've fought obviously now in August. I'd love to fight November, December again. Maybe March, April after that, July after that, I'd love to. Yeah, there's not. that, as I say, from the amateur thing, that's what you used to. You used to, you know, go into a tournament every other month. Literally on GB, we was every other month somewhere. So it's hard to do that as a pro, but you know, I would love to have them as close together as possible. Like I say, when you're especially feeling coming off the high that I am now, you want to keep that going because you're in a good place. So you want to move fast and keep it going.
I have a question for you myself. Where do you stand on the 3-minute round? Because that's a double-edged sword. You see people advocating for the 3-minute round, but there's a separate argument involved that, okay, well, if you want the girls to fight for longer durations of time during a fight, you should compensate them for that financially, because essentially it is more work. So there should be more money. Where do you stand on that?
I think there's lots of twos. Personally, I couldn't care whether it was 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. I couldn't care. I just do what I'm told. Like, so personally, whatever they say, I'll do. I train 3 minutes in the gym. It's only when I've got a date that I actually go down to twos. So it doesn't make a difference to me whether I do threes or whether I do twos. My only argument with the 3 minutes is that if people want to have the 3-minute rounds just to see women be knocked out, then I don't think it'd be good for the sport at where we are. We're trying to make it grow, make it better. And I know I get what people are saying because it's the entertainment factor and stuff, but if you just want 3 minutes to see women be knocked out, I don't think it's good for us.
Yeah, I think that's a cop-out that people use because personally, I like the 2 minutes because it's a different dynamic when it's 2 minutes. Basically, you see the girls come out fast, furious, they throw punches. Sometimes knockouts happen, like Hannah Gabriel's and Oxandia Castillo, right? They fought a long time ago at junior middleweight. Oxandia knocked her out in 2 rounds. You know, so it's not like it has to be 3 minutes to see a knockout. It's just like anything else. If the knockout's going to happen, it's going to happen. But the desire to see it be 3 minutes for that specifically is kind of morbid. And if you're that adamant, if anyone out there is that adamant that, oh, it should be 3 minutes, okay, then the money got to come with it. If the money ain't going to come with it, then stop asking for it.
You know, if you say I want it to be 3 minutes because, you know, I want to see how their endurance is. I want to see more of their skills. I want to see, you know, all them things. That's fine. But if you just want 3 minutes just to see a knockout, then I don't think we should change it. If that's your sole reason.
That's morbid. A little morbid. All right. Let me see. Heavens Above asked, we live in a world of political correctness. What are your thoughts on ring girls and their future? Personally, I love them as being part of the scene. But then again, I'm a 49-year-old sex case. Serious question, though.
I mean, this topic came up when it first came out over here. It was quite big. Honestly, like it doesn't bother me. Like, are we going to have ring men? Hopefully, you know. I get both sides of the argument, and I'm kind of here nor there about it. I mean, it is kind of chauvinistic and male, but predominantly our crowd is male, and we are an entertainment sport. So yeah, it's hard, that one. I'm not really too all against it. I'm like, yeah.
It's a good question, and you raise a good point that in a way, I would say in a way it's chauvinistic because, well, ain't no ring guys out there. Ain't no big old strong man holding up a car. You know what I mean? But I think that has to do with the market, because you always cater to the market that you have. And like you just said, the audience is predominantly male, and it is an entertainment industry. And at the end of the day, it's up to the girl if she wants to be a ring girl. For that position to even be there, someone has to want it. So long as someone wants it, and so long as someone is willing to watch it, I myself don't consider it chauvinistic, but I see your point that, well, it ain't like you going to see the naked cowboy over there holding up, oh, it's round 5, big old delts, big old pecs, big old quads. You don't see that, and I don't, you know, and the audience don't want to see that, but it's a valid point. It's a valid point.
And as well, like you said as well, like regardless, it's someone's job. Like, so that they've now lost their job. So, you know, and there was a big uproar about, because I think Eddie had took them off one of the shows here, and a lot of people had lost their jobs, and like, so that is, you know, that's, you don't want to take anyone's job, but at the same time, I can understand the opposite argument. I'm so on the fence about everything because it doesn't bother me. It just doesn't bother me.
No, I mean, I think the most objective way that you can look at it is different people pride themselves on different things. Some people do pride themselves on their fitness and their general aesthetic. So if someone is comfortable enough that they don't mind the job, because it's not a bad job, it's not like they're doing something that's ethically incorrect. It's not, you know? And if someone's willing to do the job, that's cool. If they're not willing to do the job, that's cool too. Like I'm neutral, because if you notice, PBC doesn't have ring girls, for example. If you notice PBC cards, they don't have ring girls. Most people don't really notice that, but you know, they don't. You can complain about it, you cannot complain about it, but it all boils down to does someone want the job? And if they want the job, there it is. There's a market for it. There it is. It's a way to make money. I mean, I don't really look at it as like, oh, it's objectifying or chauvinistic, because no matter what, the person has to make a choice whether or not they want to do that. You know, you make a choice, and because they have a choice, well, how's it chauvinistic? They can choose not to do it if they don't like it. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Yeah.
no.
I think
You know, it's one of those things. Heaven Above asked a lot of questions. Okay, there are a lot of calls for women's boxing. Oh, all right, we just covered that one, so let me get to the next one. Final one from Heavens Above. Now that you are known an established boxer, when will you be trying to flog me some CBD oil?
Oh, oh God. I am actually in talks with a sponsor for CBD oil, but yeah, selling's not my strong point. I've done a couple of marketing jobs. It's not my strong point, but you know, companies are there out to sponsor you, and you know they want something in return. So, you know, someone's, you know, going to give me a sponsorship for selling their product or helping endorse their product. Of course, I'm going to do that. So
yeah, it's money. It's money.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta get the money that you can get. Heavens Above once again asked, after saying that was their final question, they asked, "You're a mom. Not sure if you have a daughter, but if you do, would you be happy for her to get into the ring and follow in your footsteps?"
I get asked this all the time, and it honestly, like, if that's what she wants to do, she can do whatever she wants. I think if you are, you know, the child of someone who's, you know, well, as my child coming into boxing, there'll be a lot of expectations on it. You know, people expect you to be good. They will expect you to be a certain way. They'll expect you to have the same characteristics that your parents had. And I think there's a lot of pressure when you do follow in your parents' footsteps. So, you know, you have to have them kind of conversations. You'd have to have that conversation with her, and you know, but like my parents, I played football or soccer, as you call it, before that, and you know, I was a track athlete before that. So my parents just encouraged me to be active, and I think that taught me so many valuable life skills and lessons. So I will be doing the same with it. You know, I've done a million different sports. It just ended up in boxing, and that's what I'll do. I'll open the gateway for her just to be active, and whatever she wants to do, and whenever she wants, she takes to. You know, that'll be the one that I supported in, just like my parents did. We weren't allowed to just sit around the house, and I think it's good that kids do that. You know, get out and do stuff. And there's just, I honestly believe wholeheartedly, there's a sport out there for everyone, but you have to try a lot to find the one for you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a choice that the child has, and it's like anything else. You have to, the individual has to make the decision, because I feel like just like you just said, when people see that a great fighter's child gets into the sport, they put so much pressure on them and expectations. Like, you know, nothing against Chavez Jr., but he didn't get to the level of his father. we look at Joe Frazier and Marvis Frazier. You know, I mean, it's just like it's not the same thing. And just because that's the child of the athlete does not mean that that's the spitting image of the athlete. You know, it's different. Like, so you just got to let them make that decision. And if that is their passion, if that's what they have in their heart, then they will excel. If they want to do something else, you let them do something else, but let them do what they want, because everything ain't for everybody.
Exactly. And
Okay.
so yeah, if she wants to do that, that's what she could do.
Okay. Kev C asked, if you could train with any other boxer or fighter, male or female, who would it be?
We've already got a good stable in ours. We've got Jose Burton, All Smiths, Sam Hyde, we've had Crawler, you know, we have a good stable. But my all-time favourite boxer is Robinson, Sugar Ray Robinson. So if I could have, you know, if I could have a one-to-one with anybody, it'd be him.
Yeah, like if you just view the tape of this guy, dog, like what footage is available of him, it's nuts. Because you know the film is bad. This is old school film, but when you watch him, it's like, yo, dog, this dude was just ahead of his time, man. He had everything, like everything. That's nuts, man. All right, go ahead, go ahead.
No, that was it. That was it. Sorry.
Okay. Paulo asked, should have. I don't know what kind of question that is. We're gonna skip the shitty questions. I'd like to ask Tasha Jonas if she will sign a glove for me like Terry Harper did, so that I can auction it off to my local hospice. Many thanks. R asked that. Let me just. R, that's the kind of question that you could perhaps direct in a direct message, because I mean, like, there's no contact information for you to do that transaction. So
if you want to send the glove to Gallagher's Gym, Prince Street, Bolton, BL1 2NP, for the attention of me, we'll do that.
Okay, very, very kind of you. Very kind. Gaston Peters asked, "What does time?" Oh, we covered that, the 3-minute round. I have another question for you. I've seen this push on Twitter, and I don't know, but it seems kind of insane to me. There's people calling for a Katie Taylor Clarissa Shields fight at 147 pounds, and I'm like, yo, y'all crazy? Like, I mean, am I bugging out? Like, they crazy, right?
It's like, I don't think people realize like how far a gap that is. Like, they just see it as, oh, it's only so many weight divisions different, but that's a lot of weight. And not only for Clarissa to lose, but for Katie to put on, because you can't just put it on as in like, all right, I'm just going to eat, because it doesn't work like that. You have to, you know, build yourself up. It has to be muscle. It has to be, you know, all these things. It has to be biochemically right. It has to, you know, physically. You can't just put that kind of weight on and then still be expected to box at your best. And the same for Clarissa. She can't just lose. Like, she's already at like a deficit
right
already.
now.
Yeah, she's already at a deficit already, and then ask her to lose another like 10 pounds and then still perform at her best. It's crazy. But again,
Yo, dog, I
think that stems from like, everyone doesn't know who is the GOAT. So they're like, is it Clarissa? Is it Katie? Well, Katie's at a dodgy like one, Parsoon's one. So then that means Clarissa's ahead. And then we thought it was Brockhouse, but now she's been beat by. I don't even get caught up with that, all that stuff. It's just, you know,
it's fan stuff.
I said on my social media, on my Twitter, like, there is so many thrones. Why do we always argue who's the queen? Can't we just be happy in our own chair? Do you know what I mean? Can't you just why?
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of having. I'm guilty of having those arguments. I am. I look at it in a very. I do it in a very numbers based way. I do it based on numbers. You know, if this person fought X amount of champions in X amount of weight classes, X amount of title fights, that'll make the argument so that I don't have to interject my opinions and my anecdotes. You know, because it's hard to fight champion after champion after champion after champion, title fighter. That's difficult. That takes a lot of skill to do that consistently. So I let that determine who should be where. But the idea that you're going to get somebody that debuted as a lightweight, and then you could get somebody else that debuted as a super middleweight, and you're going to have them meet in the middle at 147 pounds, you're essentially asking for Vasyl Lomachenko versus Canelo Alvarez at welterweight. Like, does that sound like it makes sense? Like, you wouldn't have Katie and Clarissa to do that. That doesn't make sense. What?
Exactly.
Boxing fans.
People's like, oh, well, you know, there isn't the depth that there is in women's sport, but that still does it, regardless of whether there's the depth or not. Just because there's not the depth, does that mean we have to do that? Because it wouldn't, if there wasn't the depth in men's sport, would you do that? No, you wouldn't. Yeah, you'd have a thing of like Pacquiao going from weight to weight to weight or whatever, or Mayweather or whatever, but you're not essentially asking them to jump that far up or
that fast.
Yeah.
Because essentially, like, yeah, gradually you can move up in weight. Mayweather did it. Pacquiao did it. Gradually you can. But what they're talking about is what? Your last fight was at 135, so that you can fight at 147 in your neck. Like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
Boxing fans, like, you gotta love it, yo. And I'm like, the other thing that seems like a cop out is they say that there's no depth in the divisions, and I know that, like, yo, dog, that's not true. The divisions that they're essentially talking about are the higher weights, like 168, 160, 154. And I figured, you know what? When the next Olympic Games are over and that set of amateur fighters, you know, if they do what they do and they decide to go pro, then the divisions, all of them, will be that much more populated thereafter. But for now, this is the situation. However, I disagree that, like, yo, 135 is populated, dog. I could name like 10, 15 good fighters right now off the top of my head that are in that weight class. The same at, you know, lightweight, super lightweight, little bit welterweight. But it's like they saying that it's no depth. No, it's not that there's no depth. It's that you're not familiarizing yourself with the fighters. Because it's so, yo, just in your weight class, it's mad fucking fighters in your weight class. Like, I was just talking to one yesterday. Like, yo, it's super featherweight is lit, bro. I've been saying it for like 3 years. So, yeah, it's boxing fans, yo. You gotta love them.
I know. And to be fair, like, it's just like you said, we're progressing, especially in the UK, because, you know, we had Jane Couch who fought our boxing border control because they didn't even let women box, and that was only in the 90s. So, you know, there is an option now when you leave amateurs. Do you want to have the big, you know, support of the likes of Matchroom, of the likes of Frank Warren, of, you know, you've got them big promoters and the big TV production companies willing to back them, which there was never that before. I've heard, you know, read in Jane's book that, you know, she sold like £20,000 worth of tickets and got paid 800 quid or 500 quid for a world title fight on like a big massive undercard. And I was just like, how is that possible? That will now, you know, but we have moved on from there, so we are moving in the right direction. But as you say, as the next Olympic comes, and then there's a next cycle, and then even as them cycles go, there'll be kids that are coming through now thinking, well, I don't really want to go that route, or I'm not going to get selected to do that route, but I can just turn over anyway and do it that way and work my, you know, get like your apprenticeship on the job. And by the time they've turned over and I've got there, we'll be at the same level anyway. Do you know what I mean? So you'll go back.
I mean, yeah, that's the same contention I had, that for right now, you know, and I reiterate, that's only really 154 and up, that it's a little, you know, it gets a little thin up there, that they don't really have like a full top 10 rank standing. But if you look at 147, 135, 130, 126, 120, yo, there's girls up and down there from all around the world, Argentina, Australia, United Kingdom, over there in Norway. They got it, like, it's girls all over the place, bro. Like, what are y'all talking about? Ain't no depth. Like, What was I talking about the other day? I think it's 126. Then you got 2 champions in Denmark. You got Dina Thorslund. You got Sarah Mahfoud. You got homegirl from Puerto Rico, Amanda Serrano. And that's just that weight class. It's girls all up and down that weight class. So there's depth. Exactly. It's just those because top 3 girls.
Sorry, go on. Sorry, them top 3
girls. No, go ahead.
So because now there's a boom on in the UK for women's boxing, like people know about the UK women's scene, and now because you get Clarissa, Maya, and all these other people, and we now know about the American thing because we can get that on British TV, but like you say, we don't get the French ones, we don't get the Norwegian ones, just because we don't see them. That's why we think that it's not there, but they are. That we as boxers know that they're there. It's just that everybody else doesn't get to see them.
And that's that's what I'll be trying to do on this channel. Like for the last, I don't know, dog, like 4 years, I'll be talking about the ones that you don't see on TV because you can't watch Maiva Hamadouche, French IBF champion at your weight. You can't watch over here. They don't syndicate her fights. Before Hannah Gabriel's fought Clarissa Shields, before that, when she had the rematch with Oxandia Castillo, bro, you would have had to watch that on Facebook like I did because it was on Facebook Live. That wasn't on TV. Like, it's mad girls out there that, like, just because you don't hear about them don't mean they not there. Like, a lot of these divisions have depth. In fact, it's really only 3 that need more girls. Junior middleweight, and super middleweight. And it's not even, it's not even that there are no good girls at those weights. There are some good girls. It's just not a lot of them. Like at 168, you got Savannah Marshall. She's nice. Like she got hands for days. At 160, you still got a lot of girls. Alicia Napoleon, Christina Hammer. It's girls. It's just you need more of them so that fighters that are there can have the chance to fight more often. Because right now, if you look at the IBF's rank standings from 168, there's not even 10 girls on the list. It's only like 5. So, as the Olympics come and that cycle of amateurs decides to go pro, which ones of them decide to go pro, then you'll get more girls. But to say there's no depth in the sport, no, there's plenty of depth in the sport, dog. Like that, boxing fans, you gotta love them. Okay, this is I don't know if I should ask this. Hey.
Go on.
Hey, Alonzo Harris was like, yo, who would you rather see naked? Gareth Davies or Mick Hennessy?
That's tough.
Like, that's tough one, man.
Personally, neither. But I'm gonna go with someone. I'm gonna go with the one I know and say Gareth.
Okay. Yo, dog, these dudes is wild, man. Oh shit! So I think that's all of the that's most of the Twitter questions. The next question I want to ask you is, okay, you caught the Dillian White versus Alexander Povetkin fight, right? You saw that fight.
Yeah.
What was your reaction when that happened?
Well, I actually know Dillian quite well, so I was absolutely gutted, especially when you see the round before and you think, right, he's on a good run here and potentially could finish it early because he knows he can hurt him, put him down twice. But yeah, it was just one of them shots, and I've been caught with a shot like that myself, so it was heartbreaking, to be fair. And the whole arena, like when I say the arena, the people that were working there, this guy, we just wanted to know that he was okay because it was such a bad shot and he fell hard. When we was watching the replays, like you could see he was off out, like stiff before as he was falling. So it was a bad shot. So everyone just wanted to know that he was okay. When he obviously got up and thinking it felt better. But I've watched it at home since, and all week Sky had talked about, let me get this right. So Sky had talked about him dipping to his left and throwing his right over, and he's dipping to his left and throwing his right. So all week Sky had talked about that, and I think it was round 2. even though he gets put down twice, it was round 2 and the start of round 3. He dips, but he doesn't do nothing. He dips and he doesn't do nothing, and every time Dillian's going, because he's waiting for that to come over at the top, and then he does it a couple of times, and he's obviously just, everyone thinks, oh, that was just a shot. He didn't didn't mean it, but you know what I mean. But I believe that he's actually done that. It's that he's waiting to see his reaction, And he thought, right, I'm going to do it now. And it's like a half hook, half uppercut, and the power he generated with it was unbelievable.
Listen, man, when I seen that, like, I was actually live on here, dog. I legit couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what happened? And then I seen it's like you said, he was kind of like psyching him into it. Like, he was setting it up to condition him to look for it. And then he caught him with it. I guess he finally got him with his guard down or whatever, because Dillian threw a right, Povetkin slipped left, and he didn't hit him like with like a hook. He hit him from below. I was like, yo, ain't no motherfucking way he could have seen that shot coming. It's so short. Like, you didn't. It's like, for him to generate that much power off such a short ass punch, I was like, yo, that's fucking gonzo, dog. That shit.
Yeah, but it didn't come up like a traditional uppercut or come over like a hook. It comes like at an angle, like there. So it's just in between both. It was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, yo, that shit, like, bro, like, that's only thing I could say afterwards is like, yo, I guess that's why we watch, because anything could happen, bro. Like, I thought that fucking fight was over. Like, I thought it was all like, bro, Dillian about to take this dude the fuck out of here. Like, he 2 knockdowns, he ready to go. And before it even got to the knockdowns, the jab was working for him. He kept touching him, snapping his head back. He looked like he ready to go, and then out of nowhere,
he break the fight down. There's nothing that Dillian does wrong. Do you know what I mean? Break it down. His jab was good. His feet were good. He had his good ring craft. He was moving around, and so there was nothing that he did wrong. He just got caught with a shot. And at that weight, like, you just it's not the same. It's not the same, is it? It's 16 stone, 15 stone of just pure muscle. And
bro, that's why the heavyweight division is a scary motherfucker, dog. Because it's like, it's a cliche that you often hear in the sport, but every so fucking often it reminds you to, like, yeah, it's cliche, but that shit true, dog. In this division, you could be fucking winning, and then that's it. Because that fucking, to me, that fucking fight was over. Like, I was about to go to the bathroom. Like, it was over. Like, oh, you about to knock this motherfucker out? It's a wrap. Shout out to Povetkin for that, though, because it's like, yo, a lot of people counted him out. He's another one who was underestimated, and it's like, yo, y'all not realizing, one, this is a gold medalist. You realize that, right? Who has only been beaten by other gold medalists like himself, Vladimir Klitschko, Anthony Joshua.
In my one, sorry, don't know what happened then. Sky in the she's energetic, she's youthful, she's got, Tasha's got a bit of experience, but we think that she's past their best, and then obviously my fight came and it was totally different to what they had it. And then when Povetkin, it was like, I just think Povetkin's experience, you can't overlook that. I was like, didn't say that on my week. But you can't, I'm not saying that amateur, being a good amateur doesn't mean you're going to be a good pro, and vice versa. But like, when you're talking about living in a bubble, I couldn't even tell you how many tournaments I've gone to in the middle of nowhere, with no TV that you can watch or whatever, that you just get on with it. You're just in the hotel doing what you do, training to middleweight, and then you do your thing and you get off. I couldn't tell you how many tournaments I've been to like that. I couldn't tell you how many tournaments I've been to, and there's been only the people participating in the tournament that have been there. But then, I've been to the Olympics, I've fought on Amir Khan shows where there've been 10 to 12,000 people there. So, having a crowd does not affect me, because I've been to amateur shows when I've had nothing. Do you know what I mean? I've been in shows when I've had lots, but so it's them kind of experiences. It's like you know, certain situations that you get into and having a bit of ring crafted to be. And Terry Harper was really good for a young fighter when she was hit top two. I know Steffi was saying to hold on, but she did hold on, and that's something you pick up. Do you know what I mean? That's not something you see people getting knocked out because they don't want to hold on, or because they're too proud to like just take a minute. So that was very clever, and they're the stuff that you learn the more fights that you do. So yeah, it's you can't underestimate not just a average amateur career, but like at that elite level, you can't underestimate the background that and the skill sets that it gives you.
Yeah, I thought I give this to Terry that for some, because she's only like 23, dog. She's real young, but she has like real good situation. Because it's true. A lot of people, they don't clinch. They don't know that, like, tie up, just hold her, hold on for a second, because you about to go out. People get knocked out because they don't clinch, and she's smart. Like, she held, like, she maintained her balance. Like, shout out to Terry, real shit. But with Povetkin, it was like, they was talking about Povetkin, and it was the exact same situation as your fight. That I'm like, you don't see the danger here of this guy. Like, you don't understand. This dude is dangerous, bro. Like, side to side, those short hooks, knows how to get close to a guy. The only way Vladimir was able to deal with him was by clinching, because he kept getting close to him. Like, bro, this dude dangerous. Nah, he old. I'm like, all right, bro. All right, bro. You got it. He old. All right. Boxing fans, gotta love him. You know what I mean? But I think Lennox has a question for you. You got a question. Let me see. Julius, you better ask her about getting a cheeky Nando's when I'm in Liverpool. That's my man Lennox, man. He's trying to holler, man.
I would never take him home free food.
Word, like that's up to Tasha, bro. I can't, I don't know, bro. All right, bro. I do what I can. You know what I'm saying? But look, it's been a pleasure. I really hope to have you on another time, and we'll talk more about other subjects that happen. For now, thank you very much for coming on. Best wishes and great fight.
Nice one, thank you. Thanks for your support as well.
All right, thank you, man.